On this episode of the Project 2K T5, we're going to be continuing with the preparation of a camper build. That is going to involve removing the bulkhead strip so you can lay a camper van floor. We're going to use a steam cleaner to clean the cab. We're going to swap out the mirrors because they're all busted and broken, and we're going to be straightening out the low bed floor, ready in preparation to lay a ply floor and some sound deadening. Just want to say thank you to A-Plan Modified Van Insurance for sponsoring this series of Combe Valley campers. We actually have the 2K T5 insured with A-Plan Modified Van Insurance because they will insure your vehicle from the moment you buy it until you convert it to a camper van and beyond. And if you would like a special rate for your next policy, mention Combe Valley Campers at the time you're asking for a quote and they will sort you out. In the last episode, you saw us completely stripping this van out, removing the roof rack and giving it a damn good bath. We even got in here with the jet wash and washed out the 19 years worth of grime from the low bed floor. Luckily for us, the actual structure of the vehicle is safe and sound. There's no rust, there's no real problems with it. However, the back of the floor is dented and we'll cover that later. The first thing we're going to be doing before we start any cleaning is actually removing this bulkhead lip. We've actually covered that in detail on another video, which was how to fit a double swivel base, and I'll leave the link to that video down in the description if you are wanting to fit a swivel base. But today we're going to show you how to grind out these brazing or soldering points. It's not actually welding, it's more like brazing, and how to remove these little bits. We're going to continue by removing the last bits out of the cab because, quite frankly, I don't want to look at this or even clean it because it's disgusting. And then we're going to use a steam cleaner to continue, or at least make this nice, because quite frankly I can live in my own dirt, but I can't live in this because it's just disgusting. So using a steam cleaner, we're going to be going around the metalwork of the van, the dash parts, the steering wheel and everything else, and then we're going to finish off by fitting a brand new, no, they're good used seats. So when the seats that this had in it was a really disgusting set of single and double seats, we've managed to find a really good driver's seat or captain's seat with armrests, and courtesy of one of our fans and subscribers, we have now got a new double seat that actually folds completely flat. So thank you very much to Derek for bringing that down. We'll tag him in the comments later because that was extremely generous of him. So first of all, onto the bulkhead removal. If, like us, you've bought a ex-builder's van or even just any sort of commercial vehicle with no windows, it is likely to have had a bulkhead in. Now, the bulkhead in a T5, for example, is mounted across this top frame, down the sides and across the bottom of the floor. To remove them, as you saw in the last video, it's just a series of 10mm fastenings, be that nuts or bolts. But now we've got to remove the remnants. The top half is easy, it's just a series of 10mm bolts that you can just buzz out. The bottom half, not so much. We've got to remove a series of spot welds up in the top section and these brazed areas or welded areas in the bottom also. For that, we're going to use a grinder with a 1mm disc, and for the spot weld bits, because they're quite big, we're actually just going to grind them down with a belt sander. So we've got this air-powered belt sander here, and we're just going to grind the whole area down until the metal's thin enough to break off. This whole bit should come out in 3 pieces, the 2 sides and the floor. It's not too difficult, it just needs the right tools and of course the right PPE. So when we're using a grinder, we're going to use a face mask, we've got gloves, and we've got some ear defenders as well. So first things first, we're going to make the top sections. And again, I've just got a little electric screwdriver here with an attachment for a 10mm socket. And there is 1, 2, and 3, and it's as easy as that. Same for the other side. When it comes to removing the side parts then of the bulkhead, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 spot welds and a little kind of braze at the top there as well. They are more brazing than welding, and you can tell by the copper type colour I've just exposed there. For that, I'm going to be using the air die grinder. And once we've pried off that part, a set of mole grips or pliers, we're going to use, we've got the sander, belt sander, and I'm going to finish them off with a little die grinder here. And I believe the grit on these pads is an 80 grit. I know that's an 80 grit belt. That'll just give you a nice finished area. Now, once they're all off, you can just cover up the exposed metalwork, just a little bit of etch primer. But let's get straight on with it. As you can see then, I used the sanding belt to basically thin the area between that braze or spot weld, depending on which model you've got, and the actual metal of this bracket itself. I was then able to just use the mole grips and maybe even prying it off with a bit of a chisel. And you're just working the metal until it breaks round. What we're left with is just these little spots. And what I'm going to do is use the die grinder, or you can use a grinder with a flat disc, or even continue with a belt sander, just to work that away and get a nice smooth factory finish. And you'll then cover it with a bit of etch primer. You can just leave them there. You're going to be carpeting the area anyway, and actually this area will be hidden behind the plastic trim. So kind of do what you want with it. However, what I'm going to do here is just finish it off so it's nice and smooth. I'll put some primer on top. So the next and probably the most awkward section is the bottom strip. You've got, like we've said, we've got the brazed areas. There's 4, maybe 5 or 6 in total, and you can't quite get to all of the brazed areas. So what we're going to do is use a 1mm disc on a grinder to just remove the front area, and then we'll use a series of mole grips and chisels to just bend that last bit off. And as with the sides, we'll just finish off with a die grinder and make it all nice. So 1mm grinder then, PPE, and we'll get into those grinds. And there we have it. All of the cab divider or bulkhead strips have been removed. I had things like a air-powered belt sander and a die grinder. You don't necessarily need those, because all you're trying to do is reduce the area between the braze and the metal strip in order to just sort of wiggle it off or break it off, whatever it is. So you can just go in there with a 4.5-inch grinder with a cutting disc and then a flat disc, whatever it might be. It's not... You don't need specialist tools, you can just go in there and just get it out. The reason we've done it is so when it comes to carpeting or lining this area, there's a nice smooth transition between the rear of the bodywork and the plastic trim. And on the floor section, not only is it pretty unsightly, you're going to have now a nice smooth transition between your ply floor and your cab mat, and that'll be uninterrupted. The next thing we're going to do, which I'm quite excited about, is the cleaning, actually. We did as much as we could with the jet wash the other day, blasting the back area out, but the cab, although we've gone over it with a hoover and a brush, I'd really like to get in there with a steam cleaner and get the last of the grime out. We want to remove this roof liner as well, and we'll show you how to do that, because although that is in one piece, it's absolutely disgusting, and I don't think it will do well for cleaning. I might recover it, and we'll cover that in a video later, but for now, I think let's strip out the last of the interior, remove this wiring, because I believe that's an alarm system or something like that, so that'll be a good little discovery to do, and then we'll get in there and it will be basically a huge time lapse of steam cleaning, hoovering, and making this place nice again. Let's get on with it. To remove the disgusting headliner then, we've just got to remove all of the accessories and utilities from it, I guess. So first off is this light. Remove the lens, and it has 2 Phillips screws. You might find on later versions of T5s and T6s, these would actually be like the Torx bits or T30 type bits, whatever it might be. But in this case, it's obviously an older version, so it just uses Phillips screws. So the lights, the sun visors and the handle, and then the headliner just slides right out. He says with all the confidence in the world. There we go. Cut the clips at the side. 1 and 2. There we go. This has obviously got an aftermarket wiring system in. I believe this is for the alarm system that we're going to delve into during this process. So light off, accessories off, remove the roof. B-roll. So if my calculations are correct, this should just slide out in one go. So it's hooked in here. Let's see if it works. There we go. So the front half is just kind of tucked into the A-pillar trim. But that's horrid. And there you go. One beautiful headliner there. And that's the reason we're getting rid of it. Without any effort at all. That's just falling off. Now, I'll probably colour this because with a little bit of prep, that can actually be keyed right back, because that's like a fiberglass composite cover, and all it needs is that foam removing, and then you can put a covering on it like a vel trim, carpet, 4-way stretch carpet, whatever it is. But that's disgusting. That's disgusting. But there's some life in it yet, if you're willing to put in the time. And for you people at home, I am. And we'll tell you how to reline that at a later date. For now, as you might have seen by one of the previous videos, there's a little round disc on the top. We believe that's some sort of alarm or tracking system. So Sam, at the same time, is removing all the bits from the dash, because I believe the remnants of the alarm system might be what's draining the battery. Because this morning we had to bump start it. So there's a nice coaxial lead. Get rid of that. I'll probably just snip that off as well. Give this a chance to dry out. There we go. Sam's just got the glove box out there. Removing the glove box is fairly simple. See a bit of yank. Go on. On the brake. It will go. It will go. So I was removing the screws from the inside, and then yanking her out. Do we see anything under there?
Yeah, maybe. It looks like you got some tempered wires in that corner.
Oh, there we go then. So let's get rid of all this crap. For next stage, oh, there we go. In fact, that one's not going to be too much effort. That's how the A-pillars are removed. You just slide them out. But that's why we've got the steam cleaner. Before you take the passenger side one off, you've got to remove the grab handle. But again, that's just some screws under there. Then we get the steam cleaner out. Let's do the fun bit. Obviously, security of your vehicle is very important. What we will be covering in a later episode is a tracking system. So this one's kind of natty, isn't it? It's got a keypad in it. But yeah, next stage, remove all that from the dash and get clean. Well, that escalated quickly. Pretty much every removable item from the dashboard is now out. All because we wanted to find the alarm / tracking system, which is just these wires. However, I am really, really glad I've done it, because it will give us a really good opportunity to clean this stuff out, give all a good inspection. And as I've said before, I guess this is what you get with a £2 grand van. But no horror stories, just dirty. and then we've got to figure out how to put it all back together. It's just a case of finding the fixings. There's no point doing a how-to on all the dash bits, because that would be an episode on its own. It's just a case of working your way through the process. You start with these panels here that pop off, and then you work your way through the screws and the clips and everything else, and eventually it all comes out. So best of luck with that one. So what we're going to do now is look into the wiring, dig out the old alarm system, because like I said, I think that's what's draining our battery. In fact, there we go, we've got some bits here. So let's dig into it, because that's certainly not genuine wiring. So what we found here is it says Thatcham Sigma series. That'll be all the brains of the alarm. So we're going to remove it from all the existing wiring. We calculated or seen that we've got 8 feeds going into the factory wiring. What I'm going to do now is it's low on fuel. Start the van and then just keep cutting wires. If it turns off, I'll connect that wire back up or just see where it goes. But let's go. These are just earth cables. Cool, so they're done. This, we believe, is the cable to the alarm sounder that's under the dash. I've got a blue wire here, 2 yellows, 1 orange, 1 red, and 1 black. And we're still running, so that's a good sign. This is all wiring that came out the top of the dash. So that's all that stuff. And that'll be the horn. There we go. Just double check we can still start it. Win. Alarm deleted. So, and I think Sam's just pulled out the wire. If you go around the front, you'll be able to see the horn for the alarm. And what we'll then do, we'll just tape up all the bits of naked wire that we've chopped. Job done. Whilst the dash is this far dismantled, thought we'd do the cabin filter. This is a Wix WP 9166. Look how nice that is. And to remove the little cover is 2 5.5mm hex screws. And I've just got a bit on the end of my screwdriver here. And it'd be interesting to see if this has ever been done. Because bearing in mind the state of the rest of this wagon, I doubt it. There we go. Oh, that's not looking good already. Right, that I can see for a start. It's disgusting. And it looks like it's full of water. You ready for this? Yummy. Well, it's done its job. But compared to that one, I'd say that's had its day. So what I think I'm going to do, I'll get the airline, blow out in there, reset that seal, and pop it back in. That's minging. So point to note, when you go to fit your new filter back in, it's actually only goes in one way. It's got this lip here, and it's got a little groove in the box. So it slots in. Just be careful if you rub a seal. Let's see if my one will stay in position. Come on, nice and gently. No, my rubber seal's decided to disappear. I'll just hook that out. The joys of working on old cars. Oh, mouth broke. There you go. Come on. There we go. Right. Pop your rubber back in. Hopefully you don't break yours like I did. And then pop your door back in. Now we've got to the bit that I've been looking forward to, and I said this in the last video so we could actually get this thing clean. £2 grand van, ex-builder's van, We've seen the sign writing on here. This used to belong to a company that does diamond drilling, demolition, all sorts of stuff, so probably why it's in such a bad state. But when it comes to cleaning the inside of a T5, I'm going to say just get as much out as you can, especially if it's in this state. Process we're going to do now is, first of all, cleaning the gap at the back of the dash. If you own a T5 or you're looking to own a T5, just know that the gap between the dash and the windscreen is perfect for a biro or a pencil or a receipt, a scratch card, whatever to fall behind there. So I'm going to go digging first. Then I'm going to use an airline to blow everything out with a brush. Then I'm going to vacuum, and then we're going to get onto the fun part, which is the steam cleaner. We've already given it a quick test and the results are amazing. The part we've all been waiting for sure, is actually making this thing clean now. We've cleaned the majority of the dirt out, but you can just see it's grim everywhere. And the only way I think we can do a proper job is with a steam cleaner. I've just bought this. This is a Karcher SC3, I believe. There was an option for the 2 SC2, but reading reviews, this is the best one to go for the rate that it speeds up, or the rate that it gets hot. Apparently it only takes a couple of minutes for it to get hot once you turn it on. It's refillable. You don't have to turn it off to refill it. You can just pour a litre of water at a time down into this sort of area here, and it'll tell you when it's hot enough. Comes with a bunch of accessories. Again, I'm not sort of sponsored by Karcher or anything. It's just this is the one I wanted to go for. I've got a bunch of microfiber towels, and it's just going to be a case of hitting the area, mopping up the water and the dirt, and then just carrying on throughout the van. Ali's not going to be filming all of this. I'm going to put a time lapse on, and I'm going to really go to town whilst I'm on my own. Basically, I'll put some headphones on or something and just do the whole van from top to bottom, and then I'll show you the results later. Maybe let's see if this is going to work for me. Not just yet. That is just squirting water. I'll come back in a second. That's pretty impressive. So I don't know quite how close I should get. Just gonna work it into all the bits and crannies. But you can already see that it's working pretty effectively. That's a bit better than it was, isn't it? Well, I guess a picture paints 1,000 words. Why did no one ever tell me about one of these before? It's the first steam cleaner I've ever had. That is quite remarkable. Yeah, I guess the only thing left to do is to set up a time-lapse video right over there, and then you can watch me clean the whole thing from start to finish. And it's probably going to take me a couple of hours, but definitely going to be worth it. Right now, we're just going to show you how to replace the mirrors. I'm pretty fortunate with this van because it's effectively the stripper model. There's no frills, there's no extras, nothing. It's not heated, it's not electric, nothing. All it is a case of 3 screws on the back. And in this case, they're 3 T30 screws in the back. This one in particular, as you can see, obviously had a lot of miles on it. It's been gaffer taped together. It won't even fold in. I got this one from my local Motor Factors. They're just down the road. They can deliver to me in half hour. These ones in particular, because I needed two, I needed both sides. I rang them up. These were delivered next morning. They were around about £65 each, but that's a trade price. You can get these from anywhere, such as Heritage Parts Centre. They've got models for all types of vans and all types of years. So let's get it done. So again, this is a 2004 very basic model van, and all you need to do is open the door and you're presented with the 3 screws. If you're a bit unsure about holding the mirror the other side, maybe grab somebody, but all you need to do is undo the 3 screws. That's not going anywhere. And there we go. Straight out. See what sort of mess that's in. I'm just going to quickly give that a clean and we'll pop the new one in. Nice and simple job, brand new mirror, easy fix for you to do at home. So there we have it. We have now finished the cleaning, the stripping, the cleaning parts, the steam cleaning. Before I sign off today, I just wanted to dedicate this video to the late Ken Block. If you've noticed, or some of you might have noticed, that I'm wearing a hoonigan hat. Now, we're filming this actually on the week that Ken Block sadly passed in a accident in the snow. I've been a huge fan of Ken Block for many years, watching the Hoonigan series, following his progress in rally and everything else. And actually in the first series of our YouTube channel, you'd have noticed also I'm wearing one of the original Hoonigan baseball caps. It was my favourite hat and was sent to me as a gift from my brother. And on Monday this week, I received the parcel from my brother with his brand new hat in. And then on the Tuesday morning, we learned that Ken Block had sadly passed. So, Ken, to you and all of the Hoonigan family, extremely sorry for your loss. He was an absolute legend and somebody I will always look up to. Dedicating this video to you, my man. And that's it. Thank you for watching our progress on the 2K T5. I'll see you next time on the next video when hopefully we'll be doing some major works on the suspension and wheels.